Capcom, you sexy, sexy beast.
YouTube, what is up? Mothman here, bringing you a review of this banger right here. Now, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, because your boy would really appreciate it. Now, let's get it.
Capcom, goddamn, man. You've managed to give us geezers the opportunity to go back to the damn future and experience the timeless masterpiece that is Resident Evil 4. Alright, now don't get me wrong. I don't think this game needed a remake because in my opinion, it's the best Resident Evil game and is filled with tons of replay value. Although the original Resident Evil 4 is not perfect, it is damn near. But just the fact that we get to play it again for what feels like the first time is amazing to me. And just talking about it is getting my pants kinda tight, if you know what I mean. Alright, but enough about that. While it's been 18 years since the original release of Resident Evil 4 in real life, in the game it's been 6 years following the events of Raccoon City in Resident Evil 2. This time though, Leon ain't playing. My boy has been eating his Wheaties and getting them gains at Planet Fitness. He's here, he's back, and he's ready to riz your mom, dad, sister, brother, grandma, and grandpa. Alright, first and foremost, let's talk about gameplay mechanics. RE4 Remake manages to keep fan favorite combat moves like the suplex, as well as the classic roundhouse we've all grown to know and love. All the while adding a new moveset that combines knife combat from the RE2 remake and adds additional ways of knifing your way through Los Iluminados. I don't know if it's just me, but god damn, man, the AI in this game is over 9,000. It's cracked to a steroid level, man. There isn't a moment throughout my first playthrough where I didn't feel anxiety or under constant pressure of enemies flanking, throwing axes, rushing me with pitchforks, and 360 no-scoping me from across the map. The most noticeable implementation to the gameplay has been the ability to stealth through the various sections of the game, which honestly keep the game feeling fresh and allows us to take full control of the way we approach the game. The crafting system has been kept true to the original Resident Evil 4 and has been greatly expanded on by adding new different combinations to herbs, the ability to craft ammo, grenades, and the ability to repair gear once it's worn out. The gun upgrading system has been expanded on, and unlike the original where handguns became useless after we attained Luis Serra's trusty, sexy Red 9,
I see that the president's equipped his daughter with ballistics too.
handguns now have a unique characteristics that make them interchangeable and usable in different scenarios. Capcom has remained true to the weapons that appear in the game and have added some crazy stuff. One of which has me feeling like Van Helsing and Daryl from The Walking Dead. Alright, that might have been kind of a spoiler alert, but if you haven't played the game, dude, what are you doing? One of my favorite additions to the game has been the ability to collect different gems and inlay them in different combinations, with different combinations affecting how much the item can be sold at. Alright, now one of the biggest changes in the game is the tone and atmosphere of the game. It's something I immediately noticed since the Chainsaw demo. This time around, Capcom has made the ballsy decision to change the overall tone of the game. And don't get me wrong, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's just very different. The lack of dialogue as well as emphasis in notes and files left by characters in the original leaves the player filling in a lot of those blanks. This meant that the original created a more mysterious and ominous tone, which the remake switches for a more Victorian-esque horror. Personally though, I prefer the old atmosphere of the game, but the horror-based tone isn't a bad take. We still sometimes get that ominous tone in parts of the village, and especially the castle. At first I had a tough time enjoying the new voices for many of the characters, but like all things, after a while the nostalgia wears off enough to enjoy the new voices. I strongly prefer the old voices of the Merchant and Luis Serra. Like, I don't know if anything happened to the original voice actors, but like, why not bring them in? And Ashley, god damn, she's bad, but like Michael Jackson bad. Though she does look older in this game, her dialogue during the fights and her role in helping Leon this time around is a breath of fresh air, man. Come on, I'm sure we all hated how useless she was in the original. I still hate hearing Leon! And this.
Not that one. High score, here we come. You did it.
It's such a subtle thing they've added, but it really builds the bond that we see in the original Resident Evil 4. The tension had me playing with one hand. As for Ada, damn, she a baddie too, but for some reason, the iconic red dress should have been left as part of her character. So big L on that, Capcom. You know I can't talk about characters without talking about the boss fights. Boss fights have been revamped to feel fresh, more challenging, and honestly, rage-inducing. The cinematics have always been a strong point of Resident Evil 4, from the quick time events to the cinematic animation. The boss fights this time around continue this trend. El Gigante boss fight is still as satisfying as the original Resident Evil 4. From the quick time plaga knifing to the gigante charging at you, as well as throwing stuff from across the screen. I don't know if it's just the fact that this game is just so fleshed out, but all the fights just felt overall much easier. Now, I didn't think they could possibly make this next fight any better, but the Verdugo fight this time around is still as intense and anxiety inducing as ever. While we don't get to tip over liquid nitrogen canisters in order to freeze them, this time around you have to force them to stand over liquid nitrogen showers, which honestly is more challenging and just as fun. They've kept the same mechanic of waiting for the elevator, which had me clenching my cheeks the whole goddamn time. The Krauser fight is probably my favorite fight from the original Resident Evil 4, and this time around both encounters with Krauser felt very new. Although it felt new, it was 10 times more fun. The parrying mechanic in this game allowed for you to go wild with this fight. I sat around 5 minutes just parrying Krauser before I realized I had to fight back. The second encounter in the island section in the remake is a bit less satisfying, since you aren't really as pressured to walk around Krauser's maze. Like, I remember in the original, he made it his duty to stay on your sack 24/7. Like I said, this fight is way more satisfying to play this time around due to the movement and mechanics that Leon has at his disposal. Alright, finally, the SADLER fight. Out of all the 3 major fights in this game, I want to say this was probably my least favorite. Now, I appreciated that they didn't really change much, but that's the problem, they didn't change much. But because the movement in this game is so polished, the fight was much easier this time around. Having access to quick turn and the movements not being as clunky as the original, it pretty much allows Leon to use same bolt all over SADLER. Now, I'm not salty about this fight, but I was just a bit disappointed it was so easy. Like, Salazar was way harder, bro.
I'm dead. Gotta shoot.
Hello, give me health, please. You know what? It's better that I died there, bro. I am defeated. The Salazar fight, in my opinion, is the best fight and the most challenging in the game. And honestly, I'm okay with that. Though in my opinion, I'm still finding it really weird that SADLER was so easy compared to Salazar. And I'm definitely hating on the fact that they didn't bring Mendes back for that fight in the container. Alright, now moving on to the final thoughts of what I think about this game overall. Honestly, to me, this game is amazing. It's visually, mechanically stunning. And all the sandboxes that they added to an 18-year-old game just fits it so well. Now, one of the major critiques of the original Resident Evil 4 is the pacing of the game. Some sections just take a long time. Most notably, the island section of the original game felt dragged and repetitive. But this time around, while we don't get some niche sections like my personal favorite, which is when Ashley's completely manhandling the truck and escorting Leon in the tunnel, now I will tell you, the pacing of this game is perfect. This time around, the island feels fleshed out, has good pacing, and leaves in a lot of the most iconic sections, like fighting the regenerators, and that badass action sequence where you owe my boy Mike a drink. All that stuff has been left in, and thank you, Capcom. Thank you for doing that. You guys are amazing. Y'all care about your fans, man. Resident Evil 4 is a timeless masterpiece that if you haven't played it, should be played in both the old format as well as the HD version. The Resident Evil 4 remake is a masterpiece of its own and should be treated as such. Dropping the nostalgia goggles, there are things that it does worse and things that it definitely does better. But in all honesty, the Resident Evil 4 remake is a love letter to old and new fans alike, and in my opinion overtakes Resident Evil 2 as Capcom's best remake and arguably the best remake of any game to date. This game is definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. Now, with that being said, what are some of your favorite things about this remake? Or what are you disappointed about that they left out? And if you want to see me review another game, guys, don't forget to leave a comment down below and let me know what games you want featured in this channel. Alright guys, this has been a Mothman review. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to watch more memes, playthroughs, reviews, and everything gaming. Thanks for watching, and peace.